All right, welcome back to another episode of hashtag Randomly with Ronnie Jr. Today, we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Miami, recapping season number 5. Joining me today, Russell Ray, Russell Raymond on the Instagram and all that stuff. How you doing, man?
Yes, sir. I'm good. How are you? Hey, Ronnie. My gosh. First of all, can we just talk about how much of a king you are? You are back on the radio in New York.
Oh, corresponding
Yes.
with the great Miss Jones, Jonesy 94.7. It's still in its early phases, but thank you. That's very kind. I'm having fun doing it for sure.
You know what? You're such a breath of fresh air because you have been in the industry for years now. So you're a veteran. So I appreciate that. So the fact that you have me on is such an honor.
Oh, well, she's an old bitch. That's for sure. So don't be coming from my metabolism, you jerks. I was about to curse already, but we're not going to do that. What we are going to do is we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Miami. My first thing for Russell, and we're going to talk about some things going on in his career, past, present, and future as well. But I guess my first question is Real Housewives of Miami.
Yes, sir.
Where was your entry point into loving this show? I'm going to start back with the first season and just tell me, Russell, when you got into this franchise.
You know what? Season 1, I was immediately attracted to Real Housewives of Miami just because it's a Hispanic, Latino based, because there is a difference, based cast, and based off the east coast of the United States. And so we have a lot of migrants and first generation, second generation down in Miami. So the fact that we had representation, when at that time we were only about 4% representation on television. And mind you, we don't have very many stations. So we had MTV3, Mundos, and we also have Univision. But at the same time, the content wasn't as widely accepted as it is today. And we're still right under 6%. So I'd love to support, and you know how we are. We're very spicy. We're very family oriented. So all these things I immediately related to because it was the first time that I was able to watch women on television that embodied how my mom and my grandmother were, and how their bond as a relationship with, and how they bond with their kids. So season 1 got me right off the bat.
Yeah. The season 1 cast, of course, started with Alexia, Marisol, who are still with the show. They never actually left the show at all. Larsa left for season 2 and 3. Christy never came back. Would love to see her back. Leah Black did the first 3 seasons and making a guest appearance this season. Who knows if she'll be back on season 6. And Adriana. And then they kind of reshifted everything. A Tale of Two Miamis when they brought in Karen, Joanna Krupa, Lisa, and Anna. But it is a really good cast. And, I like what you were saying, because there's so many programs that air on television and sometimes they don't get the benefit of the doubt. We were talking just, offhand, like Baker and the Beauty, Gordita,
Antified, and it had such a big following, and it got canceled.
Vita on Stars. And, we're not making a thing of it, but we're saying in the vein of celebration, this show went off the air, came back. We all know that. And because it's here, Russell's schedule is insanely busy, as is mine. But this to us felt really fun to recap. And again, I understand there's a trillion recap episodes, but I just hope that you enjoy ours, because we're going to try to do it different and fun and unique. 2 things I should say before we get into this season, and Russell, you'll take it away with season 5, episode 1 and 2, and then we'll be back for episode 3 and 4. But I wanted to say, before we talk about this fabulous cast, because it's so good. It's so good.
Photo is what every other Real Housewives franchise strives to be, but our community we slay. Honestly, we really do.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Real quick, as a note, this is a really fun note. You should know that in terms of getting an exciting moment for any chance that I could ever do an episode, Russell said some really nice things at the beginning here. I also got to say some really wonderful things about you too, because every time we get to work together, it's always fun. Originally, Russell and I worked with the AfterBuzz team, and we did a show over there. And just from that point on, just had a lot of similar bonds. We both love J-Lo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And AfterBuzz was a network, or is a network, created by Maria Menounos. And that was literally the first time I ever met Russell. And literally what do I say? Peas in a pod. Everybody needs a little R&R. You know, Ronnie,
Yes,
Russell.
sir.
You
Yes,
got the
sir.
you got the dusty 40-year-old. You got the young cat. I mean, it's good. It's good.
I mean,
Um,
my collagen is starting to wear, so
uh,
we'll see how long this
you
lasts.
see, this is actually something very interesting too. Before we start, so if you were wondering, in terms of my career, yes, I've done a ton of stuff. Ended up on a couple networks, tons of radio, et cetera, et cetera. But Russell is also swinging for the fence, and he's hitting home runs because I will tell you, and you could expound on this a little bit more.
Mhm,
When the Peacock streaming platform started, there was a
mhm.
show called Create the Escape, and
Great
Russell was
escape.
one of the, what would you call it, like experts or correspondents on the show.
I
Um,
am the third host and designer of the escape rooms. And as some people know, I started actually um, doing renovations, and I worked with my best friend's family, and she has a cabinet company. Actually, custom interior design company is probably the best way to put it, because we do closets and cabinetries, islands, you name it. It's all custom. It's not pressed wood. It's all quality wood. We do crown molding, floorboards, all of it, and it's all quality wood. And so we had started remodeling my mom's house, and we actually were approached by HGTV to remodel her house, and we were already almost halfway through the renovation, and we had the last 3 rooms to do. So we did that with HGTV, and from HGTV, actually, one of their hosts noticed me, Shay Holland, and you probably know her from Hosts in
mhm.
LA, the group.
On
And
Facebook, yeah.
yeah, we're like, us in LA, we're all part of something, but we don't necessarily know everyone, right? So we didn't know
Mm,
each other. We had never met. And I was like, wait a minute. I know exactly who you are. You have Host in LA. So long story short, a casting director reached out to her. They're looking for a diverse Hispanic male um, who could, be that camp counselor kind of person, but who also could swing a hammer. And baby, that's me. Okay.
oh, look at him
So
flexing already. There's going to be a lot of arrogant talk between the two of us. I will tell you that because listen, I love myself and this guy does too. So we are going to be talking all that shit. We're going to give you very Larsa. We're going to give you like Larsa vibes on this show.
yes, sir. We're giving you
But no,
Larsa.
as a as a notation, absolutely. If you're on Peacock, which you are already watching Housewives of Miami and the reruns, et cetera, hop on over and support Create the Escape because that does support Russell Ray and the other shows that he may or may not be in negotiation to host next. So this is all a moment that we can have together.
Honestly, Create the Escape is the best escape, hence, for moms and dads who are interested in Housewives. So turn that on, let your kids watch me on that, and you come and join us with the after show recap. And we're gonna give you all the cheese, because not only can I relate to kids and have fun with them, but I'm also an adult. I'm an
Yeah.
uncle, but I'm also an adult, and we like
Right.
to have fun, and we like to talk Housewives, and
Right.
we maybe like a little cocktail here and there, just like Marisol.
Yeah, yes. We're gonna give it to you, and it's gonna be fun. The Housewives of Miami, the one good thing too, because we could have said, "Hey, let's do this recap," and it could have been a really cheesy season 5 premiere, 4-episode premiere. And
Mhm.
you know what? It wasn't. It
You know what?
wasn't cheesy.
It was
I'm
spicy.
not what, huh?
It was spicy.
I'm not one who takes too much. Like I don't take it too seriously when I see what Twitter thinks.
Mhm.
But Twitter was saying that it was bringing the heat. So this is actually really exciting for us. I will tell you a couple show notes, and then we're going to talk about all the cast members and everything. Season 5, episode 1 and 2. In the future, we're going to have Hottie of the Week. So stay tuned for that. It's just going to be good. My only one more thing before we start, Russell, and I know we got to rush through these episodes. I just got to say, I am old enough to know that I have certain biases. So you trifling viewers or listeners who say, "Oh, Ronnie just always makes an excuse for Larsa," or if they don't like her, let's say,
Yeah.
I will tell you, damn Skippy, because I see something not in myself with that's like her because I'm nothing like her, but
Mhm.
I see all the times when I grew up and my confidence wasn't intact, and
Mhm.
I see when I saw Larsa season 1, episode 1, and she graced the screen and she had the 4 kids and she, loved and respected Scottie Pippen to the fullest and they were trying to make it work.
Mhm.
I just was like, I like her. She's a vibe. And so many times people decide that because you're rich, because you're famous,
Mhm.
because you're good looking, because you've had plastic surgery, that you are arrogant. And sometimes it's got to be said that it might be the opposite. It might just be that you love your life. So
it could be that, but it can also be the insecurities that are projected onto people for the fact that they don't have what these people have.
mhm.
And if you're comfortable with yourself, you're comfortable with what you have, and there's nothing wrong with progression or wanting more, but it's also nice to see what people can have and what you can potentially have yourself. We all have different roads and we all have different hands and cards that are dealt with us. But if you work hard and you focus and you find your craft and you find the reason why you're supposed to be here, you will get to where you want to ultimately be, unless you become content. And that's okay too, because you might say, hey, I want a 10 bedroom mansion, but you end up with a 6 bedroom mansion. And you're like, this is actually a bit much to clean, but let's go ahead and take care of that. Like, I have my apartment here with Shane and we're just about 1,100 square feet. And we're like, we don't want to clean anything bigger. This is enough. We have enough space. We can fit 25 people here. No problem. And we're just going to leave it like that. We're going to stay here for a minute because we're very content with what we have.
No, absolutely. It's all so interesting. Anyways, I just had to get that part out of the way because I've been told like, oh, you just always love Larsa no matter what, and that is the truth. But we'll be critical.
Guy will love you regardless of X, Y, or Z, and you're gonna be there for the good times and the bad times. You're gonna be until the end. So,
and it's just it's a mindless, fun television show. Our last thing before we start here is, oh God, it's so good to watch the show, but it's also good to go on Peacock streaming again to watch the old episodes because we don't have Mama Elsa anymore. But I feel like we have the spirit of Miami, Mama Elsa, and Marisol, if I could be critical, was not always my favorite character. I don't know if she took herself too seriously at the beginning or what it was. She just wasn't really connecting at the very, very beginning. But there's something about this 8 years of the show being down and then now it's back and it's, the revamp that really she's not giving Mama Elsa vibes. They're definitely their own person, but Marisol is really like speaking to me a little bit more. Like she's fun. She knows how to like master these confessionals, like you said, the drinks. She's always talking about her drinks and stuff like that.
Always talking about her drinks.
I definitely like her.
Mama Elsa, I do miss Mama Elsa because the fact that she embodied the true Miami lifestyle. She embodied Celia Cruz and like that generation. So it really gave us a sense and an insight to what Miami is really about. And I'm thankful that she was part of the earlier seasons because we were able to really take that in, and then we can go back, watch that. And those of you who don't know about Miami, go ahead and watch those first few episodes and you'll really get a feel for what Miami is. And it'll help fill you in for season 5 if you're not really catching or following along.
Well casted show. Okay. Season 5, highly anticipated episode 1 and 2. Russell, where do you want to start?
Let's start like right at the top with, let's start with the new beginnings. Whole party that Larsa was. Since you're a Larsa fan, let's start with the new beginnings.
I go heavy in the paint for Larsa. All of you bitches better know that now.
Hey, be worried though, because Twitter is only 22% of the United States, so that's literally 20% of people's opinions because everybody loves us on Instagram and every other platform, so we're not worried about Twitter. But let's talk about it because I felt like the season premiere had 2 meanings to it. It was new beginnings. And I feel some people took it as new beginnings in revamping the relationships that they had with the other cast members. But I took it as like, this is Larsa's new beginning because some people will always see basketball wives or
like a wife of an athlete. Yeah.
They're always going to see them as that. And so I think this really was to highlight and celebrate Larsa and the fact that she has her own, she's made her own, whether it's through OnlyFans or other businesses. Like we're a community now that doesn't discriminate against any of that work. Thankfully we progressed.
Absolutely. Work is work, sex work is work. Not that that's what, you know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely.
It's not necessarily what everyone strives to be, but we also accept it because we know it's there. And now it's actually kind of nice that you're not shaming people for it anymore.
People are I don't know if this is like a sort of like the Cardi B philosophy, but like once Cardi B made it to the degree that she made it, it changed the game with how people saw like, wait a minute, this gal a couple years ago was a branding herself, making a name for herself, but she was using that money to be in the studio. Like, and there's many girls who've tried to do that or guys who've tried to do that. It never happened. Cardi B, it was an example that, like, just do what you got to do. And you can strive for like that ultimate goal. And we all, like, that's why you shouldn't be judgmental, because we all do certain things we have to do in order to get something. I mean, I know that I complain about my last name should be Ronnie Resources, because I'm always saying, damn, I'd be so much, more, popping than I am if I had certain resources. But the fact of the matter is, sometimes you have to wait patiently. Sometimes you gotta, you see what I'm saying?
Sometimes it's just not the right time. Sometimes, sometimes it's not the right time to even have those conversations. And speaking of right times to have conversations, how do you feel about the argument how do you feel about what Lisa said about Larsa's building? Like, did you take it that serious when she said it? And do you think the girls were in the wrong for filling Larsa in?
I don't feel like it was in the wrong. And I feel like, honestly, Larsa wasn't even that mad. It just Lisa, and I'm not blaming Lisa, because one thing I should tell you, while Larsa's my favorite, okay, Lisa is my second favorite. So whatever two of my favorites, I've said this on so many of my other episodes here on RandomlyRJ.com. Whenever two of my favorite cast members or people that I really like don't get along, it doesn't really bother me, because I like them so much. So for instance, on Jersey, I'm a Melissa Gorga all day, every day. Well, she don't really like Dolores, but I love Dolores too. So you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Dolores Catania, you're my girl.
And so when I let the record state that when two of my faves go at it, I'm just like eating my popcorn, because I'm always going to be more Larsa. That's just kind of like with Melissa. I'm a little bit more Melissa than Dolores, but I eat it up. To your question, I think it was like a silly, Lisa did say it was a silly meme, and it's also in the narrative, because, some of the things that we have to realize is, because we talked the way we did a second ago, how we're saying work is work, basically. And, we're very, very much in this well, at least the girls, you know what I mean by the girls, the girls are not judgmental about these things anymore. We have evolved. And so in order to evolve, you're able to have humor that you didn't have before, because it was like kind of unspoken. So I think that's a joke that I've heard about other neighborhoods in New York, in LA, like, oh, that building, that spot in North Hollywood, stuff. We joked about that
all the time. I hear that
in Long Beach.
I hear that Long Beach is the Jersey of New York. Like, it's affordable, but no one wants to go there. So I'm like, well,
it wasn't.
I might be in somewhere where you guys don't agree with, but who's coming more out of pocket?
It didn't feel like such a diss to me. Like, I didn't feel like it was that bad, and I honestly didn't think Larsa was that mad either. It's just Lisa was really mad.
Lisa was really mad, but I feel like the girls shouldn't have. When Lisa had that conversation driving home, the girls should not have filled in Larsa. Like, you know what? Just address it. Call it what it is. Like, you know what? This might be getting a little bit blown out of proportion, because I think she was just repeating something that she saw on an
Instagram account.
It's an Instagram account, but it's like a specific type. It's like it's a roasting account, just like she mentioned. It's a roast account. So it's like,
which those accounts are such those accounts are such trash anyway. Why take anything seriously? Like, why even give it credibility? That whoever does that account right now is probably bragging, like, oh, I'm featured on the show. Pay that no mind, Lisa.
Yep.
But Lisa got mad.
Lisa did get mad.
Are you saying that you think Kiki stirred the pot? Is that kind of what you're saying?
I do think Kiki stirred the pot, because Kiki's defense was that a true friend is going to fill in someone if something is being said about them. But if you knew and you were told specifically by Lisa, let me talk to Larsa about this and I'll address it, then just mind your business. Mind your business, because you don't have a place in there. You're just coming in as a third party, because what purpose was it for Kiki to say what purpose did that serve?
While I agree
for producer credit, or like of expanding on it.
Yeah. While I agree with you, I also do feel like what Kiki said made sense. If this is my friend, why can't I, share some information to her about
Mhm.
something that I think is important. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes sense that
Kiki
way
might have thought
too.
it was important, but she needs to get her priorities in order because there's certain things that are important and things that are not important. And I don't think that that statement was of that importance to blow it up and pass it over. Because again, like when Larsa addressed it with Marisol, she just was very nonchalant, like, yeah, she mentioned that, and just kind of filled her in a little bit. Um, but then like kind of moved over, grazed over it and continued, which I feel like Kiki really just dove into that. So if I was Lisa, I would just,
You'd be mad.
yeah, cross my T's, dot my I's, and I around Kiki, and I wouldn't trust her as far as I can throw her. Not saying that she's a bad person, but just you have to play your cards right, given if you're more in someone's corner than somebody else. And Kiki is definitely more in Larsa's corner than she is Lisa's. So I would just be weary and stray away from trusting anybody that's not in your own corner.
At the end of the day, the reason it makes this episode so good is because it wasn't that big of a deal, but
Mhm.
it was blown out of proportion. And on a lot of other franchises, the reason the shows don't do as well is because they take things that are small and make them blown out of proportion
Mhm.
without a reason.
Yeah.
This one felt like there was a reason, very, very, very up and coming, meaning what's going on with Lisa, is she having some stress at home, and or at the reunion, Lisa and Larsa, who were such great friends the first season, had that little moment, where they had to rebuild the friendship. Either way, like I said, I guess I'm such a talker usually, but I was okay with it. I thought it was such a small thing, and it
I
just
thought it was
never,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
even
thought
went to, it went to the party upstairs too.
and here's with that, I feel like don't, and I guess like it wouldn't be reality TV if it wouldn't be unfolding in front of everybody, right? Because that's the whole point of it, to get the ratings. That's what it takes to be a good producer. You want these things to manifest in large settings so that multiple people get involved and give their own opinion on it, just like you and I are giving our opinions right now on the Real Housewives of Miami. So with that being said, I feel like Lisa can sometimes drag out things like high school drama a little bit, instead of like, you know what, let's put a pin in it. We're going to go have a good time
Yeah.
and we'll blow up on each other later. Or if you're going to have a blow up, have a good blow up, like a real good one. Like go for the throat, like just get, like, if anything, get in each other's face and make, look, this is what I said. It wasn't supposed to be intended like that. And then I would turn, because that's the thing, is they weren't attacking the problem. They were attacking each other. And so
Yeah.
instead of attacking the problem, Lisa should have went straight for Kiki and should have went straight for the throat, not just casually address it with Kiki. I like more, it's the Hispanic way. I like more of a confrontation when you address it and then you call it out and then you bring them to their knees. This is what
Okay.
Lisa needs to do. But I
Yeah.
don't think Lisa has, or I haven't seen it yet. I don't think she has that drive and aggression behind her as a personality. I don't think just
She
she
has to
is
have
that person.
something behind her though, because she's so relentless with it. Like even when Larsa on multiple occasions
Spiteful.
is trying to put it away, she keeps like with that underhand, like or what's like just whispering like thing.
Yeah,
She keeps bringing it up though.
she's passive aggressive, and
Yeah.
she's passive aggressive in their mini attacks on each other to try to one up each other, because they're both good looking women. They're all good looking. The whole cast is good looking, but they're good looking women.
Mm.
But they almost embody the same things.
Do you think Lisa was casted as a Larsa? Like, there's a little bit of a typecasting within these shows. Do you
I
think,
think,
because I had always thought that actually, to be honest with you, when
uh-huh.
Larsa left, I was like, oh, does Lisa sort of embody that position? And I know that almost sounds rude, but I don't mean it as a rude thing. It just like
Yeah,
when you're assembling a show, you don't bring in like 3 kooky characters and 3
yeah,
smoking hot characters and 3 like Julia's the offbeat character. If Julia leaves, obviously we're gonna have another offbeat cast member.
yeah.
I thought when Larsa left season 1, I thought Lisa was like another version of that,
Mhm.
totally her own person. I'm
Mhm.
not taking anything away from Lisa, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I also think Lisa has a bit of Joanna Krupa in her.
Okay.
She's a bit messy. I don't feel like Larsa is as messy. But Lisa's definitely messy, and she's almost the loudmouth. She's the loudmouth one that really has nothing to say right now. Of course, you know, as the episodes unfold, you know, there's more of her character will start to come out. But as of this first episode, it's just more of a loudmouth person that you're just like, shut up, you know, just chill, hang out, leave it alone. But that's the thing is like she couldn't leave it alone. She must be a Cancer because that's a very Cancer trait.
We don't. I'm not
shade,
sure.
But no shade to everybody that's a Cancer, but straight up, that's a very, very, very Cancer trait is to blow things out of proportion, to dramatize it, to not leave it alone, and to there's really no resolution to it except for just to bring it up to make everybody uncomfortable, because I feel like Lisa wants everybody in her corner, like, defend me, it was a joke. But you know, I don't think anybody cares to that capacity. No one cares to that capacity.
I didn't really think of it as that detail or that deep, but I will say that in general with people, just generally speaking, I don't like it when people like, oh, let's not talk about it, or they walk out the room, but then they still embody it. Like if it's in you and it's still gonna piss you off, then you bring it all up right now. Say it all. I'm not
go for the throat.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like I'm good, like I'm chill, but then lo and behold, it's still with you. If you're gonna walk out that room and do that stampede away, not saying Lisa did that, but if that's what you're gonna do, like you got to be actually very good with it. You can't come back later and be like, Larsa, you did this. But there was a little jealousy too, because Adriana, who has always been my least favorite on this show, she had that little moment where she was with Larsa. They were doing the photo. And I think why I love this show, or why I love these two girls, Larsa and Lisa, is because Lisa did kind of get up and like get a little jealous. And jealousy is an honest, it's a beautiful, I mean, don't act negatively because of your jealousy, but she showcased that she was just a little jealous. She's only mad at Larsa because she likes Larsa. You know, they're friends, you know, and I think that's to be noted. And we all know that, but yeah.
Yeah. And I think there is a love there, but it was just this small topical issue that just kept dragging for no reason. And, you know, the fact that we've seen in the previews that Lisa goes through something in her personal life. And so I don't know about you, but I definitely, when there's something going on, you read the room, because that's how I was raised. You read the room, you read the signs. So if somebody's acting different, you know, it was very, very, very much highlighted that Lisa's husband is working on his body and really kind of getting more into himself and more of his appearance and his look. And of course, with that comes more insecurity, or you want to ask questions. If you're not asking the right questions, or if you don't feel like your partner is doing this for themselves, let alone doing it for you, because when you become a union, you go through the ups and the downs together and you love each other regardless. But if you feel like something's not being reciprocated, you need to read deeper into that. And so only Lisa knows if she's seen text messages, or if she's seen, you know, signs of shadiness with her husband. But we can address that at a later time once it comes up.
Yeah, and they had a little bit of a separation prior also.
Yeah.
So, you know, of course that's there.
And you have to remember, when you open that door and that gateway, if you have a separation, you know, things linger.
Yeah.
Things linger. So if you built a connection with someone, that might still kind of be around there, you know, and you and I being in the LGBTQ community and having experienced men, we understand this. And being men ourselves, we also understand this.
Right. The position you end up in sometimes.
Yeah, men can be very sexual. And it's no different in the gay community. Just because you like men versus you liking women, it's very much one and the same. And now we're starting to see that women are the same way.
And I'm not expecting Lisa to read. You said read the room. I'm not expecting her to just know these things are happening.
Yeah.
But she was having a conversation with somebody, and she said, "Oh, he's doing this, and he's losing weight, and he's here and there, but our sex is well." I don't know if she said her sex life, but she said something where I think she might have said sex life, where our sex life is not like, where's his energy going? And I remember watching it. And I'm like, well, that's if all this is happening, he's depositing it somewhere else. And
not depositing.
Yeah, he's making a deposit somewhere. Meaning she was in her explanation. She was explaining all these good things that was happening with Lenny,
Yeah.
except for like, because when you lose weight, I mean, as me, I'm struggling with my weight constantly. As a kid, even I've always. But when I will tell you, when you lose that weight, boy, that libido go. You want to grab onto something,
Yeah. You know what?
and because she knows and is supporting him, it's. I mean, I'm not saying she missed a red flag because how dare us blame her for his shit. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean.
But also, we'll address that when that comes
Okay,
up. But
okay,
I do
okay.
have some thoughts about that whole situation. But what I
Mm-hmm.
want to do is I want to move on to Alexia and Gertie and their about Alexia's wedding, planning her wedding
Okay.
events.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Gertie feeling that Alexia compared um, the event to a charity venue, and how do you feel about Alexia's response to that? Also, please note, I was getting very much Teresa Giudice vibes from Alexia. Like, I feel like she's the Miami version of her. She looks like her. Her hair falls the same. She's just a blonde version of her.
Yeah. So this is why, you son of a gun. I literally said the same thing about Alexia.
Mhm.
She was one of my favorites in the first 3 seasons. Obviously, season 2, because of what happened with her son, she took some time off.
Yeah.
But she's always been a favorite. Season 4, she was okay. But there is such an even more than a Teresa, because I'm not a huge Teresa fan, mostly because I love Melissa so much. But
Mhm.
let's just say I like Teresa. I like Alexia because she does step in it a lot. She does kind of make a lot of errors, but there's something so loving, especially these cast members
Mhm.
on these shows, because a lot of them are so protective. And I mean, it's called a reality show, and they go so far away from reality.
Mhm.
So someone like Teresa and someone like Alexia, I absolutely think have similarities. That's number
Mhm.
one. And number two, Alexia never holds back. She never holds back like what she actually feels, in terms of like, oh, what's that going to look like? Is that going to make me look petty, or is that going to make me look bitchy, or is that going to make me look whatever? She says exactly
Yeah.
what's on her mind, and I appreciate that. Now, in terms
I
of what she
appreciate
said
that
to
as well.
Gert, right. In terms of what she said to Gertie, I do think she was wrong to kind of equate the two, because you
Mhm.
are sort of coming for someone's business. And with Gertie, while she went back and forth with Alexia to a degree, obviously in the trailer, we see that it's going to get a little deeper. I don't know whose side I'll be on then. However, I
Mhm.
think Gertie did exactly what she's supposed to do. Obviously, she's not involved in the edit, so she doesn't know what's gonna showcase on the air.
Wasn't gonna
But
manifest,
listen, if
yeah.
somebody says something about my business, oh, I'm absolutely going to give you a confessional and explain my side of it and say,
Yeah.
you mean to tell me that that's the same thing? And then I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you, I did this and I did this and I did this. Gertie and Nicole last season, I have never seen cast members that were new cast members that fit in so good with the show. So I'm a huge Gertie fan, a huge Dr. Nicole fan. Typically,
I
I
love
like
Dr.
an
Nicole.
yes, I typically like an older cast member. I like it. Sometimes it
Yeah.
feels more story to it.
Yeah.
Maybe in their 30s they were popping, so to speak, and then when they're in their 50s or 40s, they're had a divorce and they're dating again. It feels more fun to watch. But when
And
you get the
they've
right,
also been through it, and they have a little bit more life experience.
yeah, but when
Mhm.
you get these young cast members that just work like a Gertie and a Dr. Nicole, I'm all in. I'm definitely all in. So yeah, I didn't think much of it. I think they both handled themselves, but yes, definitely Alexia more in the wrong. Definitely Alexia being a little mean. We'll allude to later on with the gift that Gertie gave. Alexia's a little bit, yeah, we're going to know that she's going to make errors all day, every day, but she's still a fun watch. And I still really love Alexia for exactly what you said. She's a Teresa
She is. She's Teresa, and
of
she almost
Miami.
looks like her. I was like, I couldn't help but think Teresa the whole time I watched all of
It's
these
true.
episodes.
It's true.
And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
she's very Teresa. But
Yeah.
I also want to continue with Alexia because
Oh, can
let's
you
transition into.
before you do that, can you give me your 1 to 10 rating on her husband?
I give him a solid 8, and the only reason I give him a solid 8 is just because they don't showcase him as much, like as a Joe Gorga or like a or like a Catania, or you know what I
Oh,
mean?
Frank, yeah, Frank
As a Frank
Catania.
Catania. But I do like him so far from what I've seen. And I think they make a
Um,
beautiful couple. I think they actually complement each other, and that's not
yeah,
always the case. And I think in
yeah,
this case, they very much complement each other. And, this is her third go around, and I hope that it's the final go around for her.
yeah.
Um,
She's had some tougher ones before,
yeah. And
marriage 1 and 2.
it's tough
Um,
being in the public eye and going through ups and downs. And I think that she's handled it the best as she can, and we can appreciate her for that. And I think, you know, them celebrating their nuptials coming in in episode 2 was a beautiful thing. Although I do have some reservations about the whole venue and the event itself.
okay.
I think if you're going to drop that much money for 5 hours for a yacht and you have no sort of vow renewal or like in front of your friends and family, and you're going to dress mind you, you don't need a bridal party for this.
Mhm.
But if you're going to put on a wedding dress and you're going to dress to your nines and tens as in your tux as the groom, it's a very awkward scenario to drop that much money and to walk in just for like an engagement party while you're wearing a wedding dress. It didn't make much sense to me. I
Mm,
would have definitely
interesting.
ensured that there was chairs and some sort of aisle that I'm walking down, like, just because you guys were not able to be a part of our nuptials the first time around, and we really like the way that we did it. We want to include you on our vow renewals, and we want to watch you guys, or we want you all to watch us renew our vows, express our love for one another. And it could have been their own written vows, not necessarily any religious vows that they might have done in the first place, or traditional vows. But I think just everybody standing around, not everyone really got a good view. I believe one of the friends stated that they didn't get a good view of the whole situation, and there was just one dance, and then it was like just drinks. So if you're
Mm.
gonna do that, you might as well do it at a house that you already own, that you're not footing the bill for. Mind you, like, if you
Yeah,
have the
but to
money,
be
I
on
guess money's no option.
a yacht though, I mean, that is
And that's
nice. Can I tell you what I think
yachts
it
are very
is?
Miami.
One of the things I worry about with all of these cast members, especially if they are in the limelight, you know, I'm wondering, like, are some of these men, are their intentions really legit?
Mhm.
Speaking of Teresa, as we did, I mean, we really don't know what that journey is going to look like. No offense, but like, what were his intentions pure?
Yeah.
He's seeming to favor the camera quite a bit. I'm speaking about Teresa and Louis.
Mhm.
So when somebody like Todd comes in, that's his name, right? Todd.
Todd.
Yeah, Todd with Alexia, you initially think the same thing. However, with Alexia, I think and I'm not being mean by saying this,
Mhm.
you have some people like me who are so wound tight. I get mad about everything, causing problems all the damn time. This is
Mhm.
me. Then you have Alexia, ignorance is bliss. Like, she's so chill and flighty a
Mhm.
little bit that she can be with Todd and he could maybe steer the ship in a certain way and she's happy. And
Yeah.
also, I assume a lot of women also enjoy a little bit of that as well. The dynamics between men and women is different between the way we date. This it's a different thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's similar, but it's different. As gay men, it's different.
Yeah.
But she has a little bit of ignorance is bliss. So what I'm going to tell you, to what you stated about all that money on that yacht, I think it was him stirring that ship.
Okay.
No pun intended. But
Okay.
I also think that it was another thing that him, or even her, she just lost her mom. And when you go through something of that nature, I feel
Mhm.
like sort of you shift as a human being too.
Yes.
All those things that you were like, it needs to be like this, it needs to be in
Yes.
a Catholic church, it can't be here, it can't be
Yes.
where Gertie got married. All those things after her mom passed, you start to just say, what makes us happy? So if the yacht made them happy, I think that's where the shift came. So that's my nice way of saying, I agree it was a lot of money,
Mhm.
but you got to do different things when like, she's obviously crying at night wishing her mother could be there. So what do you do if you, like, what am I going to do? A traditional ceremony? My mother's not here. Might as well do something different, like, or else that void is always going to be there. Um,
But
there,
there's also beautiful ways to honor those who have passed.
mhm.
Um, I'm just more, I guess I'm more thrown at the fact that it was a cocktail party. And I grant you, it's on a yacht. Yacht is very Miami. For those who do not know this, Sunday brunch is done on yachts in Miami. If you're not on a yacht on Sunday brunch from Miami, you're really kind of broke like the rest of us. But it's a very Miami thing. And so I can understand why they went on the yacht. I would just have liked to see some sort of seating arrangement that would have given everybody a view, even if there was no vows or, expression of love, but at least to give the view for anybody, or for Alexia and Todd, while they were dancing and while they had their moments, because you of course want people to be engaged in that. That's the whole reason why you're having this party, to celebrate your guys' love. So it kind of just caught me off guard for the fact that there wasn't any sort of seating minus couches. So I don't know the exact direction or what they were really thinking when they did it. But like you said, to your point, when you lose loved ones and things start to shift because you had tragedy or you've had hard times in life, it's really not a priority to prioritize everybody else.
It's also your third marriage. I don't know if he's been married once. He has the 2 daughters.
Yeah.
It's that whole, like, let's just do it the way we want to do it, Yeah. So somebody had an idea that this is the perfect party, and it was a good party. And we need to talk to Marisol, who gets all the invites, and have Marisol invite us to some of these, really good events that are going on in Miami. Because Marisol, we ready.
We are ready. I mean, look,
we are ready.
I got my tight shirt on. I got my necklace. Yeah. Maybe I just, I got maybe I need to get another necklace. But I'm right here. I got the curly hair, Papi. Yes.
And when I walk on a yacht, everybody's looking. This metabolism is for some people. Let me tell you. No, we have fun. But it was nice. It still was nice. It was still cute. And there is something that is endearing about them. So long as he is with the right intentions with her and he's doing well and we don't hear anything crazy, I am happy for Alexia, because Alexia, I said ignorance is bliss to a degree. She does go through it with her sons. There's a lot going on. So it's nice that she could find love. And I guess I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to leave that. And I would like to move forward with Dr. Nicole, because I think I love her. I know you mentioned before that you love her. I think it's very important to highlight a Latina woman who is actually a physician, and a successful one at that. She has her own career, built herself from the ground up. Her mom had to give her a bit of tough love in this episode and give her a check about what her mom kind of leaned towards being expressed as arrogance. What did you think about that?
Dr. Nicole, to me, is definitely a fun watch. I think she's let me be careful with my words here. I think she struggled season 1 with the reality TV machine a little bit, when Marisol just just handed her ass to her when they were playing that game, Who Do We Trust the Least? So I think she was a little off guard season 1. I think she's fully ready to play season 2, but not mean. And I think I like that about Dr. Nicole. She's not really a mean lady, she does have young energy, which typically is not my favorite characteristic of a housewife, just because I like them a little older. It's funner to watch. But I like everything about it. And another thing that I really enjoy, and this is maybe my problem, because I'm not a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fan like everybody is. I'll watch on occasion, but Kyle has stinking up the show since season 1, episode 1. That is just a fact. That's not even a thought. That's like the truth. Yes.
There ain't nobody in the room to hear that.
No, I mean, this is factual. So I've never really been on Beverly Hills. Like, people they call it the crown jewel of the network, which I don't agree. Potomac is great. New York has always been great up until the end. Atlanta is great, etc. My point is, what was my point? Oh, my point is with Beverly Hills. With Beverly Hills, what makes it uninteresting sometimes, and obviously this isn't a standard rule, but it feels like some of these casts, let's not say Beverly Hills, let's just say in general, they have too many scenes where everyone just shows up, 6 people there, and then they just find a reason to get mad.
Well, Andy Cohen has a very, very peculiar way of making these things happen, just like we've seen time after time again with Jersey Housewives, for example, and the posh fashion show, or Kim D, a little throwback, Kim D's events.
Yeah.
So Andy has his way of making things happen, which we appreciate about Andy.
Yeah.
But to your point, like, yeah, there's always something to fight about.
Well, here, going back to Dr. Nicole, the stakes seem low sometimes when it's like, we already know it's a reality show. We already know they get paid for this. They already know they have to go in and do something.
Yeah.
I enjoy so much, and we're getting it mostly with Dr. Nicole, but we're getting it with everybody, that on this franchise, they keep showing a lot of the personal stuff that goes on with the family. And I think when you showcase that, it adds to the value when they're in a group of 6 and somebody says something. So like, for instance, Lisa, when we see her with the family and then we see her kind of butt heads with Larsa to a degree, it makes more sense because you know what she's fighting for. And I think this, oh, I love that. Yeah, that's it right there. Seeing more of Dr. Nicole with her mom and her mom expressing you should, take advantage of trying to mend this relationship with your father because he wants to. It makes it all make sense, even in the regards of who she came from, who she is, in terms of, season 1 or her season 1, season 4. They made mention, your first husband was whatever, but your second husband definitely had, that fat bank account, and you favored from it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Especially her being a doctor, anesthesiologist. I'm just saying, I know I don't know what your question was. I kind of forgot, but I'm saying I love seeing all the human realness about her actual life, because it applies so much more to when she's fancy with the other girls, when she's having people over at the house. And may I tell you, obviously she is of course, such a beautiful woman. We know Dr. Nicole is gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Like, she is giving A-list celebrity actress, television host. Like, let me tell you, ABC or Peacock, look, whoever is the head of this network, like, you need to bring her into something. She can literally sit on a panel of a syndicated television show, or just like Good Morning America. Like, she would fit in.
Not Good Morning America scandal.
But she would fit in perfectly. And let me tell you why.
As long as she doesn't take Larsa's spot, yes, I can agree with you.
But she could bring in an element that most housewives cannot. She could have literally spoken on the pandemic because she's a doctor.
Right. I mean? There's housewives. So
there's a depth to her.
There's beauty. There's you're gorgeous. You got a big, beautiful home.
Yeah.
But she's doing something, I mean, what did she say on the show? She's like, oh, I'm on a 24-hour shift or something like that. Like, it's good to see. And, Bravo has stepped so far away from that, like real human beings. It's usually like the people are all so into their whole world is like them being the reality person. And I guess I'm struggling with words as to say why I think she's so great, but I do think she's great. And I got to ask you the question. I must just be a dirty birdie today, because do you like her husband?
I mean, I like anybody that could change my
life. Right. What if he called you over?
Matter of fact, you could. Me and Shane will just go right.
Look at you now. You're volunteering Shane too.
I will volunteer Shane. Okay.
He said money will do the trick. No,
money will do the trick. We do like our place here, but we will not disagree with the 7-bedroom house.
Yeah, a penthouse would do something. I don't know.
We have those in Long Beach, and I would love to live in one.
So I really think it has to be the full package. If we saw him, at the Walgreens, or at the CVS, like, would we say the same thing? But knowing that he's, able to afford what he's able to afford, and this is not me being superficial, but something about him having all that and his charisma. And here's the last thing. Was it last season or this season? I think it might've been last season, where Nicole is saying, we're going to invite some people over for sushi. It was last season. And I don't know why I like this, because maybe it always excites me when straight men have a little more fluidity about the way they talk.
I love that.
They're so secure that it don't matter. So
yes.
She goes, oh, I'm inviting this one. Alexia is going to bring Todd. He goes, oh, such a sweetheart. And then, and Gertie's going to invite, Gertie's going to bring her husband. Oh, he's such a sweetheart. Like, because men are so fucking scared. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse today. Dang. Men are so scared so many times to like be emotional that I love a straight man who's like kind of on that level where it makes you feel comfortable, because you could kick it with him too. So 1 out of 10. I won't say he's a 10, but it does showcase, and this is for everyone who's worrying about their confidence or whatever. It showcases that the way you carry yourself could actually be a turn on, and there's a little bit of a turn on that Dr. Nicole's husband has. I had to ask because I think other people are interested.
I think all the men on the show are relatively handsome.
Mm-hmm.
Lenny, not so much, but
yeah,
we'll address that on the next podcast. But let's close this one out on our thoughts of how we feel like these first 2 episodes went. I feel like we got a lot of Larsa, we got a lot of Lisa, we got a lot of Alexia, so we got a lot of the A's. I would like to see more of Kiki and Gertie. Marisol is like it's a very interesting the way that Bravo and Peacock
she's
her into the show.
She's our confessional queen. She's our confessional queen.
Very much
and in
so.
scenes she knows when to come in. So I think she's all right.
But I do want to talk about the fact she kind of rubbed me the wrong way at one point in these first 2 episodes, when she mentioned to the person at the there's a lot of light coming through here.
Oh, okay.
I'm bright like a diamond. Let me
we'll wrap up. Okay, here I'll actually say something. I'll say something.
While I walk away.
No, I'm gonna do. You go do what you do.
Okay.
As a promotion, if you wanted to and are enjoying what we're doing here, obviously we do this for fun, and we love Real Housewives of Miami. We try our best because a lot of the other shows out there, no diss, we don't want to be too rude. We're trying to take things light and have fun with it. If you like what we're doing, of course, go to RussellRaySilva.com, which is his website. Go to my website, which is RandomlyRJ.com. And if you want to support, which we love support, because we are doing this and for fun and enjoyment of these great ladies on the Real Housewives of Miami franchise, please support me at patreon.com/randomlyRonnieJr. And while I have you, I'm going to say quickly one more thing. There's so many interesting Instagram accounts. A lot of them I don't follow because I'm not that interested in Instagram at all. However, there is one that is up to date. I wanted to shout out real quickly Real Housewives, or actually it's RHOM.Peacock, which is just a fan site. I don't mean just, like it's not significant, but it's not connected to Peacock or anything like that, but it is just a fan site that does such a marvelous job at bringing old Real Housewives of Miami content, as well as new clips, as well as theories and information, et cetera, et cetera. I get a kick out of it. I'm always writing Team Larsa on almost every post. So if you want to also support them, that's RHOM.Peacock, and they are a really good Instagram account. And a lot of people do follow them, and they're up to date on everything. Sometimes I'm wondering, I'm like, Marisol, is that you? Are you the one? Are you running the account?
But because she's good. She has those one-liners that'll sing. They're hook liner sinkers.
Sure.
It's just like boom, reels you in.
Sure.
But getting back to Marisol, and the reason I say Marisol is because I do it in memory of Mama Elsa, because that's how she used to say it. But she was at the nail salon with Alexia, and the server came up and she brought her a drink because we know Marisol likes her cocktails, and she kind of passively aggressively stated that there was too much ice in the drink. And I get it. She likes to taste more of the alcohol, and we don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But with that being said, you're at a nail salon. You're not at a bar. You're not at a cocktail lounge. These people don't necessarily know how people or how certain drinks are supposed to be made because that's not their specialty. So it's moments like that I want to highlight, that people that are working hard in the service industry, in any type of service industry, whether it's with the general public or restaurants, those are the type of moments where those service people want to turn around and slap somebody because there's something passive aggressive about it. Instead of being nice about it, like, you know what? On the next one, can you get me with just a little less ice? Or you could just put no ice and then I'll use the remainder of the ice in here. There's ways to go about things in a nice way. And I don't feel like that was a nice way. And I have to say it personally because that is a direct, I've worked with the general public for a lot of years.
Mm.
And so when people say things like that, it's a slap in the face, and you want to turn to them and be like, well, then make it yourself. Especially when it's something that's complimentary at something like a nail salon. You need to like ease up on that.
I never thought I would defend Marisol so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was for the show. I hope it was for the show. I think it was she put on, she knows what looks fabulous to say. Yeah. It was with a grain of salt, is what I feel.
But also, what's to be said about highlighting something like that in a television show? Because you have to remember, some people that watch shows like this can't differentiate the fact that there's a persona that's on the show and there's actual ways that people need to be treated. So this being portrayed the way that it was, I just want to let any service workers know that are watching this podcast is I feel you and I understand you and I see you, and we appreciate all the work that you do, because a lot goes on behind the scenes to have these drinks made and to get them out in a timely fashion.
That's fair.
While you're hustling all these customers at the same time, because they're all very demanding. So
you're right. I'm thinking of it so inside
innocently, but it's very innocently.
No, I'm saying I think of it.
Uh-oh. I was losing.
I was going to say, I think of it so inside as like oh, no problem. I was going to say, I think of it so inside, like, what it is to be a great television personality. So this might have been a little bit of a swing and a miss. She wanted to do that gaudy, opulence, elegance, like little kind of tacky, like I am fabulous commentary. Yeah. And you're right. It did land a little bit in the vein of the service worker, which people are like working so hard. They're not getting tips anymore. They're getting lower tips, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So you make a point. I'm not running away from my point that I think it was just for the show. But I think that is fair, because you're right. A lot of people don't think of it in that way. I always think of it as like, oh, she did that as a character, what, and she does do a swing and a miss a couple of times. Like she did the one where she's like, she keeps with the cockies, and like sometimes she's like trying to be funny, and it's like, just let it flow.
Yeah, just let it flow. It'll roll off the tongue, and you've been doing it. You're a veteran. You've been doing this for years. But also as a veteran, you should know that things like that hurt people. Not saying that it hurt me, because let me tell you, baby, if somebody tells me something passive aggressive, I'm very much passive aggressive back sometimes, because that's what people deserve. And that's the generation that we're in, because this whole idea of I'm going to disrespect you and you're just going to get over it that's a thing in the past. That's very 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It started straight away in 2000s. Now that we're in the 2020s, like, it's not happening. Gen Z is not going to happen. So if you're somebody watching this podcast and you treat your service workers like that, let it be known they will be coming for you in the next few years, because this whole you need to do as I say, and you need to not be kind about it. You have to remember that. Also, you have to remember, when it comes to like food, the person bringing you the food isn't necessarily the person that made it. So you expressing your dislike or frustration with the fact that it doesn't always come out the way that you want it, you can do that in a nice way. It doesn't hurt to be nice and correct something that you want a specific way, or it doesn't hurt to be nice and be specific about how you like things.
I think if Marisol,
way to pitch it.
I think if Marisol heard this, because you said if and who's watching, everybody, I think if Marisol saw this, she would agree too. She would be like, you know what, I was just being opulent, I was being lavish, and it landed a little off. That I don't think she'd have this like negative reaction to what you're saying, because I also
don't think she
was a worker
in a malicious way.
She worked her butt off. You know what I mean? Like some of the early seasons, she was, as I said, maybe not the most compelling. That's because she was working and working and working, like she was, running all the events in Miami or whatever the case. Like she knows what it is to work and to have to, work with the staff, et cetera, et cetera. Like she understands that. I just think it was, like I said, she's not trying, but she's bringing in her mama Elsa glory. And sometimes it just doesn't land. I mean, I think that's what it is.
I mean, with that being said, I just... with that being said, nobody get any ideas about talking to your service worker sideways, because we will come for you.
All right. Well, this message of "Don't you dare" was brought to you by Russell Ray. And again, if you are joining us, you're you love Real Housewives of Miami, you watch it on Peacock, the streaming platform. Go also to see Create the Escape, where he is a host and an expert on the show as well. That actually aired when Peacock streaming started. So basically, when Real Housewives of Miami season 4 started, so did this show, and it's called Create the Escape. And show it some support. Tweet, Instagram, share, etc., because you never know when this is for both of us, both in radio for me and television hosting for him, when we will appear on your next project, because we are no schlub, and we're not new to this. What is it? We're not true to, what is it? True to this? We're new to it. We're not new to this. We're true to this.
Yes.
Some stupid thing. Look at, once I get arrogant, I can't do it. Okay. Does that wrap up the show? Do we have anything else for episode 1 and 2 of season 5? I think that wraps it up, right?
No, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Okay, we'll be back for episode 3 and 4, which really get into the season 5 premiere. Any last words, Russell, before I take us out of here?
Que viva Latinas por vida.
And for me, I'm just gonna say, all day, every day, it's all about Larsa Pippen. What? Okay. This has been #randomly with Ronnie Jr. We will catch you on the next episode. I'll talk to you later.